Hi guys, what's up? This part of the 21st literature subject, we are given the poem To Those Who Have Lost Everything by Francisco X. Alarcon. But before we go to the deeper meaning of the poem and the elements in this poem, let's first know who Francisco X. Alarcon is. And here is my classmate Von, and he will introduce to you who he is.
Hi, and now let me introduce to you the author's background. This is Francisco Xavier Alarcon, who was born in February 21, 1954, and sadly died in January 15, 2016. He was a Chicano poet and educator, a teacher. He was one of the few Chicano poets to have gained recognition while writing mostly in Spanish within the United States. His poems has been also translated into Irish and Swedish. He made many guest appearances, guesting at public schools so that he could help inspire and influence young people to write their own poetry, especially because he felt that children are natural poets. Francisco Alarcon had birthright citizenship in U.S., as did his mother, but his family moved back to Mexico when he was small child. His family claimed he knew he wanted to be a poet when he was 13 years old. Returning to the U.S. at age of 17, Alarcon first found work as a migrant laborer and then on a manufacturer line. While supporting himself, he made his own way from East LA College to Cal State at Long Beach and finally Stanford University. His first poetry book was entitled Tattoos, was published in 1985. He would publish 20 books in English and Spanish, mainly for children. He was also fluent in Nahuatl, Portuguese, and French. In 1992, he won the American Book Award from the Before Columbus Foundation for snake poems as an Aztec invocation, based partially on the Nahuatl Spanish transcription made by Hernando Ruiz de Alarcon, a priest who watched the horrors of the Spanish Inquisitions in 1570 to 1622 in Mexico, inflicted in Mexican Indians. Francisco Alarcon cut his literary teeth on outside Raoule as a student at Stanford, who was thrown into the Raoule as an innocent murder suspect, but he already knew the story from somebody Mexican. And that was all I knew. That was all the information we knew about this great poet.
Thank you, Von, for the precise introduction of the author. At this point, me and AJ, my classmate Lamostre, will talk to you about the poem, each stanzas, and the meaning behind each stanzas. So the poem To Those Who Have Lost Everything by Francisco X. Alarcon. The first stanza is having the lines, "Crossed in despair, many deserts full of hope." For me, in my own perspective, the meaning of this stanza is that in life, there will always be problems. That as we journey in our life from the beginning to a certain goal, we may encounter challenges as people, events, and many more. It seems that we are given the idea that there is no easy path in our journey.
Carrying the empty face of sorrow everywhere. In these stanzas, we are clearly given that no matter where we are, where we go, problems will always be present. That in every chapter in our lives, failure will be there.
So the next three stanzas are simply the most heart-aching ones in this poem, because it is actually a realization of our day-to-day living, our day-to-day basis of encountering problems, especially within ourselves. So the third part of the poem is mouthing a bitter night of shovels and nails. In this stanza, We are given the idea of having deep thoughts of ourselves and our past experiences. Yes, it's okay to feel sad for yourself for some time, but don't let it swallow you whole, for it will lead to anxiety or worse, depression. Having this lonely thought is a good way of realization, a way of becoming a motivation to strive better in the coming future. The fourth stanza of the poem is "You're nothing, you're shit, your home's nowhere." For me, this is the most heartbreaking point of the poem. This part is one that hits us the most. Have you ever experienced a time where you are already a failure and still there is this someone who still mocks you or drags you down? I mean, a way of mockery because of your failure. Yes, it truly hurts when people will give their opinion towards your failure. It truly hurts when people only see your wrongdoings. And what hurt the most is that when people doesn't care for your feelings or your perspective as long as they have something to tell on you. Next is "Mountains will speak for you." In this stanza, we're given the picture that our thoughts are the mountains. We can only speak for ourselves silently. This is a time where negative thoughts will flow your entire consciousness and make you think you are nothing, you are worthless. These thoughts will speak for you or simply will take over you. That's why many of our ages are led to suicidal cases because of the poor understanding within themselves or ourselves. It is simply ruining their whole entirety because of the lack of understanding. At this part of the poem, it is simply the relieving part because, as we all know, in every situation of challenges we may encounter or problems, there will always be a solution. And upon having the solution, we are always relieved at the end.
Rain will flesh your bones. This line is a simply breathed out because the rain there simply illustrates our tears from all the sadness we contain within ourselves. As we tear it all up, it seems like we are given relief. That's why rain will flesh your bones. In simpler term, our tears will help us rejuvenate or revitalize from all the pain we're experiencing. It is okay to cry.
The seventh stanza of the poem is "Green again among ashes after a long fire." Green again. We are simply given the thought that we can recover from the pain that we experience. It gives us the picture just like a phoenix, where from ashes it can turn back into a beautiful bird, a beautiful life. It let us give the thought that in every pain there will always be hope, that in every failure there will always be success at the end.
Started in a fantasy islands some time ago. This will simply apply to the saying, starting over again. Though it is hard yet time will always tell. You may not get back up in an instant, but slowly letting go of the pain will help you get back up. You may not start right now, but soon for everything has a purpose.
Lastly, the last part of the poem is "Turning natives into aliens." Remember the fourth stanza. Those simply are the natives that we encountered. Those people who are already teasing you or mocking you because of your failure. The people that tried hard to let you down. Turning those natives into alien, in a simpler way, turning them into strangers is one way of accepting the failure you've encountered. Because if you still engrave hate towards them, the pain will always remain somewhere inside your heart. Learn to forgive and forget. At this juncture, AJ Lamostre will tell you the poem's review, or simply the elements found in the poem.
Let me introduce to you the poem's review. The poem is in a mood of sadness and pain because it talks about the failure you experience. On the other hand, it also has the mood of relief for at the end of the poem. Give us the realization that in every failure we can do, still get up and pack our fallen pieces and fight back as a whole. We think the author wrote the poem for us to give a guide of hope from the problems we encountered and we are about to encounter. It seems like he wrote that as a reflection of his life journey. It is a free verse poem without any rhyming word at the end. The poem symbolizes fire of despair and a doubt for a hope. The tone of the poem is a soft, it has a sad, relieving mood.
That would be all, and thanks for lending us your time. This is Group 8 and I am Raoule together with AJ and Von.